extremely long essay right here. What do you think about letting kids play gacha games? Kids and gacha games. What do you guys think, huh? Should we let kids play gacha games? Yes or no? So let's see what is the counter argument here, right? As certain gacha games becomes more mainstream and appeals to more mainstream audience, I'm looking at Hoyoverse. Pair that with aggressive marketing through physical media and especially social media. Also looking at you, Hoyoverse. Almost every damn YouTube ads is your game. Do you personally feel okay that kids are exposed to this kind of gacha games? Yes, they must learn the way of huge. Kids Destroyer, no. Okay. I'll give my perspective on it first. I do think that for most of the time, when the kids play the gacha game, it's less to do with the kids playing the gacha game. It's more to do with the kids spending money in the gacha game. I think that's probably the barrier there. You can let them play the game because it's just any other game. And whether you like it or not, most games nowadays have some sort of microtransaction, right? I think nowadays it seems like it's really hard to find games that are like buy-only copies. Even if you go to like any games on Steam, right? The famous ones, Valorant, Fortnite, they have like Battle Pass. They have some form of monetization for sure, right? I think it's just about, controlling them to a certain extent. The game tends the kids to spend money. I know it's going to be very, very hard. But can you what if every single game eventually becomes like that? Every single game just eventually have some sort of way to monetize. Are you going to prevent kids from playing games altogether? Because that's not something that you can do, right? They need to learn self-control and gambling temptation some days anyways. Yeah, I do think that it's probably going to be easier to educate them from a younger age. But of course, it does depend. There's a lot of factors that goes into this. It's not going to be a simple solution altogether. It's up to the parents, I would say, right? It's up to the parents altogether. If some parents are okay with teaching their kids, you shouldn't spend games and stuff. You gotta sit down with them and explain to them certain things. Some parents won't want to do that, too much effort, and they would rather just, lock their account and stuff. So there's that as well. Kids should go outside and touch grass. Damn. Chinese kids use Chinese New Year money to gacha? Really? Alright, let's see some of the arguments or counter arguments for these points here. You can disable in-game purchases, App Store and Play Store. You can also lock every purchase behind a password. Alright. Regarding social media and games in general, I don't know, since I don't have a child yet. However, I wouldn't treat it as a forbidden thing. It's better to make sure that the child understands what it means to be online so they know what risks there are and what to avoid. Teaching that is a long process. I can agree with this. Locking purchase behind a password is probably one of the better ideas for sure, right? Or one of the better methods. At the end of the day, it's really hard to tell your kid to not play certain games because if they go to school especially, right? They're going to have friends that play certain games. And then it's like if every one of their friends play Genshin, for example, and your kid don't play Genshin, it's gonna feel weird, right? They're gonna feel out of place. Why is there even credit card linked to the account? I do think that in most of this issue, credit card is the problem. I think parents just need to protect their own credit card. I think that's probably where it comes. Playing the gacha game is not the problem. I think it's the money, it's the credit card. Usually it's credit card. I noticed that when parents I don't know how their kids are able to find a way to access the credit card, but that's going to be always only if they have a smartphone. Most kids nowadays have smartphone. I don't think, I'm a teacher, right? And in my school, I don't think that a single kid don't have smartphone. Some of the 7-year-old kid has a better phone than me, actually. Believe it or not. And yeah, it's very normal. If you're ready to have a kid, you gotta be ready to give them a smartphone. I think if you don't give them a smartphone, it's gonna look bad on you, I think, as a parent. Because every parents are doing it, and you're not giving your child one. I don't know. It's gonna feel, you will have the social pressure of wanting to give them a smartphone. Every kid has iPad nowadays. Back in my day, we had to bring a parent or ID to buy games like GTA. I'm not sure entirely, right? We can lock the purchase, the kid can still access. I've seen it in supermarkets, it's real, yeah. The kids can still access the summoning system. The act of summoning is also gambling right away because you are using an earned currency in a slot-like manner. This is what feels worrying. I mean, it is for free to play, right? You're too poor to even have a kid. Yeah, having a kid is very expensive, for sure. Parents are clueless about in-app purchase. Parents are clueless. That's the scary part. There's a lot of parents that are actually clueless because they don't play the games. There are a lot of parents that they are not familiar. My parents don't play games, right? They don't know how to. When I was a kid, I learned everything myself, obviously, right? Your kids have phones, but they don't have credit card on them. Yeah, and that's always going to be something to consider. Kids should start working on McDonald's to earn money. Ooh, my kid shall use your 30-year-old Nokia. Sure. Yeah, you gotta protect your card. I think the issue is not the games. I think the issue is the credit card, especially credit card. Very, very dangerous tool actually. If it's not used correctly. Kids growing up playing Nikkei becomes uninterested in real women. Yo, chill, man. I haven't thought about that and I see the problem. That's indeed worrying. To be honest, I can't find any good solution to that. Restricting your kids could work if every child is equally restricted. If the child is the only one who is not allowed to play, they quickly fall out of their social circle. That's what I'm trying to say, right? I've seen this happen before in some of my students group, right? Accepting that they are introduced to gambling system at an early age is also worrying. The only solution I can think of right now would be to educate them about this, but it really depends on their age. Yes, age is an issue. If you don't allow your child to play certain games, it does lock them out of their social circle, and that can be kind of bad as well. Because, it's difficult, right? Especially like everyone is talking about it. Don't give cell phone to kids under 8 to 10 years old. There's a lot of good things that comes with the cell phone for sure, right? Childhood gambling. Huh. So let's see. Education is definitely important, but I think companies should also not be allowed to push ads that aggressively on YouTube or other social media platforms. Of course, companies are going to aggressively push ads on YouTube and other social media platforms because it works. They don't do it for fun. They don't push ads for fun. Ads works. People do click on them. Kids do click on them, especially kids actually. Usually kids are the one that falls for most ads. And yeah, you can call them predatory or whatever, but it works. And that's how advertising and marketing has always been something that works for centuries now. It's not something unique, right? I wouldn't let my kids play gacha games. People pretend gacha is the only thing wrong with the system. But the login incentives, the stamina, the RNG drops are all things I wouldn't want my kid getting used until they understand the predatory nature. Buy them paid apps, but stay the hell away from free-to-play shit. I'm not sure if I agree with this 100%. Stay away from free-to-play shit. What's wrong with being free-to-play? What's wrong with being free-to-play, by the way? So I feel like at the end of the day, yeah, definitely this is something that I think a lot of them need to. There's nothing wrong with being free to play. Free to play, by the way. Also, like it's hard to find a game that paid app stuff, but yeah, it's definitely. I think a lot of kids play like Genshin and stuff, and definitely that's how it transferred to more kids because they talk about it at school, etc. Definitely is a thing. But yeah, as far as all of this, the login incentives, stamina, RNG drops, I'm not sure if all of these are predatory, but it's just how games work. I think teaching them how it works is not that bad, right? Free app we purchase. He means free app we purchase. No, I think he means paid app, right? I don't think he means free app we purchase. It must have been our son that found my credit card and will in Nikkei. Damn. This is such a specifically terminally online take. Coin tosses, dice rolls, card games, stuff like Yu-Gi-Oh! Are hell. Even just toys nowadays have stuff that can be related to gambling. Yet people seem to only campaign and complain when it's video games that do this. Huh. So he's responding to him, right? It's not terminally online, you're just massively downplaying the problem. Kids can play games with random elements in them, sure, but they are rarely, if ever, playing for real money. And you know what? If I had a kid who kept losing their allowance because they were playing craps with their friends, yeah, that would be a problem. The issue with video games is that older people don't really get them. They can tell a kid, hey, poker is fun, but don't bet real money on it. Just play with your friends for fun. But they'll toss their kid an iPad and whoops, there goes a couple $100 because the parent never locked their shit and the kid really wanted to have the new character and they have no real understanding of the worth of money. Yes, this is where it comes in, right? A lot of kids, they don't work yet. They are not an adult yet. So they don't know how... They don't understand the worth of the money. I think that's actually true. Especially if you don't teach your parents. I actually have a friend who has this nephew. He doesn't know like $70 or $7. He doesn't really understand because he's like 9 years old, I think, right? A lot of kids probably, especially like a super young one, they won't really understand the concept of money yet. Especially when it comes to gacha games and like, you know, there's so many currency involved with it. So it does get super complicated. Depending on how young the kid is, they might have just wanted to see pretty summon animation and kept hitting the button. Damn. The worst issue about this gambling is they never win. Actual value for real life, at least gambling has potential to gain more money. What? Is there a parenting problem? Yeah, for sure. Does that mean that there shouldn't be more restrictions on things like gacha games, especially when they're marketing themselves towards younger people? Effing no. Obviously, gacha games can be unsafe and should be regulated more by the government. The thing you need to understand is that kids, who are generally more tech savvy than older generations, are effing stupid and prone to developing really bad habits if left unchecked, and some of that falls on the parent. Sure, but no one is an island. Societal problems need large-scale solutions. Kids aren't allowed to drink or gamble at casinos for a reason. I don't think it's too much to ask that the casino in the kid's phone be regulated too. Wow. Regulating a kid's phone. Just like China. Remember in China, before you play a game, you gotta put your ID. So you can only play 1 hour per day. You can never regulate. If you want to regulate, you're gonna be like China. And I think most people here wouldn't want to be like China. Most people here would want parents to take care of their child instead. It's either... You can never have perfect things, right? You either be like China, where everything is regulated by the government. Sure. Censorship, everything. Sounds good for kids. It is. It is really good for kids, actually. You go to China, I think they have the best system for kids. But I think most other people from other countries wouldn't want that, because it affects you as an adult. So it's going to come at the cost of both sides for sure. Spend the money I have. Having kids is not such a pain. Even the older kids don't really have to grasp the worth of money, especially those who were spoiled rotten. Yeah, I can see that. China still spending gacha even with the restriction. I mean, to be fair, they have like more people there, right? That's one thing for sure. But yeah, the only person that can regulate it is the government. And if you regulate it, then it's like you gotta insert ID, you gotta show your... I'm not sure if that's good as well. Lazy parents is how you get China, lazy players is how you get gain. It's literally not even a problem because you can lock purchases entirely. Lock them with a password or even a fingerprint on modern phones, so your entire little rant is moot. But most parents don't know how to do this, I think. I don't think I even know how to... Okay, I think I know how. I definitely know how because... But yeah, I can see some people that are not tech savvy might not even know how to do this. And this is where the government should step in. The argument is stupid. Here in Belgium, the whole RNG loot box system has been banned. So a lot of gachas got deleted from the app stores. But those kids are now spending their parents' money on things like sports gambling. Sure, there's definitely other medium for sure, right? And it does depend on how young the kids are especially as well. So I'm not sure it's entirely moot. There can be a lot of factors to look at, a lot of different angles. It's entirely a terminally online issue because somehow gacha games that already have solutions to these issues presented are the only problems when, as OP described, the issue of even letting them pull without real money constitutes gambling. But somehow everything I already mentioned, which is also used in gambling, is not an issue somehow. Your argument of casinos don't allow X blah 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 is offset by the fact that casino in the kids' phones has security measures to avoid those too. But sure, let's blame it on the genre itself instead of the parents that don't educate their kids on this. Don't put enough attention to the kid to know what it's actually doing, and finally is lazy enough to not ever log purchases on the stores or in the game itself. And this guy has a point, but most people are not going to lock their kids' phones. And yeah, I think that's just how it is, because most parents are, I'm not sure if lazy is the right word, they just don't have the time. Like most parents go to work, they come home, spend like 30 minutes with their kids, give their kid an iPad, and then okay, go play your PUBG, stop harassing. Like, I think that's just how most households are nowadays. It's very different from last time, right? When inflation is not a thing, especially nowadays, both parents are required to work. And yeah, I can see this is definitely something that definitely is a problem overall. EU country just straight banning gacha is sad. I mean, yeah, you can ban gacha for sure. But there's also a lot of things for them to spend money on, right? The problem isn't that the kids waste money. They won't even have the fact that they're spending money sink in. The problem is that they are building up a gambling desire. At the early of an age, it can last a lifetime. Pressing a button, praying for good RNG, watching the animation in suspense, and being overhyped and feel amazing when you win. It wouldn't just be a hobby, nor a favorite pastime, but nostalgic. Who here has fond memories of playing new Christmas games early in the morning, or grinding an MMO all night? How much do those memories try to draw you back in those happy days? Sometimes it turns you into an old school RuneScape addict, and sometimes you spend tens of thousands in the gacha, because gacha was your childhood and now you're an adult with less time and more money. I'm not sure if this is something that is going to be something that is that simple, right? The Android app for Twitch is trash. I'm not too sure. Parenting system can't keep up with tech nowadays. This problem extends to literally everything I already mentioned. Maybe not at the age of 5 or 10, but as soon as the kids hit middle school or high school, there's bound to be people that were taught how to gamble, and then your kid who plays cards, blackjack, or dice shaker will eventually be like, I can do what I like doing and earn stuff while at it. The point is not to downplay gacha games, but framing it as being the only thing that could cause kids to gamble is insane and terminally online. Using the casino example, which was skewed by the way, is more akin to you putting a kid in the casino and then leaving him there, expecting that the casino takes care of your kid and makes sure that they don't ever learn how to gamble. It's your responsibility as a parent to ensure that it doesn't happen, not putting the responsibility on the casino. Responsibility. To be fair, casino don't allow certain age in, right? Locking purchase in the gacha doesn't matter because it's the romanticized probability chasing that creates the problem. So he's saying that free-to-play currencies. I got a friend who has less than $1,000 in the bank and just spent a couple of hundreds on Sparkle's banner. Oh yeah, people like that do exist for sure. Money problems, right? And you will always have people like this, right? And it is going to... they just need to learn, I guess. They just need to learn entirely on their own. I don't think there's a solution for it. Kids shouldn't be exposed to luck-based activities when they are young, especially the diamond-encrusted ones put on a social pedestal called gacha. Kids shouldn't be exposed to luck-based activities when they are young. When I was a kid, I used to go to this supermarket near my house. Do you guys know that thing, the gachapon? You can put the 50 cents in and then you can spin for an egg. And then it gives you like an egg, and then inside it's like random, it's like a gacha. You don't know what's inside until you spin. And then depending on what you get, sometimes you get Denji, Chainsaw Man, like this guy right here, right? Ooh, Denji is so cool. Alright. I did learn at a very young age though. My mom did teach me, okay, that's gambling, you shouldn't do it often, it's very, very bad. You can never try to collect every single, what do I call that, figures with that method, because it will never work, right? You're always supposed to lose. Kids will FOMO all the time, so they will spend. Casino and gambling games shouldn't be allowed to market to kids. Gambling games like Gan. Gumball machines are gambling because I wanted great but I got lemon gumball. Now I want my dollar back. Like PGR. PGR? Damn. Seems kind of dumb to assume kids won't be exposed to randomness. They will always be exposed to randomness. Everything is random based in your life. I do think that you can teach them one way or the other, right? Most kids play arcade than gachapon. Mainly for candy. I don't think anyone here is arguing that gacha is the only cause of gambling addiction, just that all these factors such as marketing, social acceptance, hype, accessibility, and lack of regulation in general makes it a much more prominent one. How is this not arguing that gacha is the only cause? When are we actually going to stop putting the blame on the product or game or anime or whatever and actually start putting the responsibility on the parents? This guy feels personally offended because he's a parent and he doesn't want to take care of his child. It's like putting your kid in the casino and leaving him a couple of hours every single day, expecting the kid to not ever pick up gambling because the casino should be safe. True. True. If theoretically the statistics for kids becoming gambling addicts were like 1 in 200 who played fun no money poker within the family, 1 in 100 who played gacha with no access to real money spending, 1 in 20 who played gacha with access to real money spending, that's simply a matter of priority. Focus on the biggest cause, not to try to equally distribute efforts. Trying to make the casino safer instead of not leaving your child in one. What? I'm not sure if I'm understanding the perspective at this point. It feels like it has moved away from the diverting from the problems or issues. Without a way to spend, you're basically giving the kid a lesson in the results of financial responsibility. Personal experience here. Better to teach him how to handle gambling responsibly now compared to when he has an actual paycheck. Waste all his gems pulling on random banners? Tough luck, kid. Better start saving and budgeting if you want that future anniversary unit. Teaches them the value of money and why you don't gamble away your savings. They know the pain when a really nice unit comes out and they can't get it because they pieced their self-control in the previous banners. The problem starts when parents give their kids unlimited access to their payment methods. Speaking of talking about parents and kids, I do think that this is also something that they can try to push maybe in a school system, right? I think like I didn't really learn probability until I was like 15 or 16 years old, I think. I think like more school need to start teaching, or like the government should basically push probability to be like maybe a subject of its own. I'm not sure. I'm sure there's a way for them to do that, right? A good kid is one who saves gems until they can guarantee PT. FOMO. I'd rather let my kids play some game with no gambling and shady practices involved. Letting kids access the games community will just make the community worse and F up the kids' mental state. Just look at Genshin fandoms. Popular younger audiences, not only gachas like Genshin but even more mainstream games. It always turned into an inhabitable place. Wow. Pull only when it's 6%. Wait until they learn about Nexon? Wow. Sound like a great way to start gambling addiction? Kids have different ways of thinking than adults. I can already imagine them crying 24/7 over not getting the characters they want, and they will almost certainly fall for the scam or fake cheat or currency hacks which compromise the device we gave them. If I want to introduce them to gaming, I'll buy them a good old PS2. We have plenty of refurbished machine here that's modified so it can play pirated games. So this guy is okay with piracy, but he's not okay with gambling. Interesting perspective, I guess. Making is actually gambling. You're hoping you'll get a 5-star baby? Yeah, I'm not sure about kids plus hyper monetization, hypersexualization do not mix. Not every game is hypersexualization though. Pirates rise up. Pirates rise up. Rise up, alright? A kid is stupid enough to settle for PS2 games. Most kids won't. I think the thing is because kids have friends. And then you like... Yeah, I've seen this before, right? Like if everyone in school talks about Genshin, they will want to play it. Giving them a PS2 game that's like for 10 years ago, they won't appreciate it. It's not going to work. It will never work. Why would this even be a question? It's like teaching them multiple bad lessons in a single action. All of them have the potential to be addictive and destructive to their lives. Absolutely the F not Lamau. Talking about mainstream gachas that kids are allowed to play. This means the family-friendly one that doesn't have sexualization. Talking about Hoyoverse. Gacha games that are popular among kids are FIFA sports games, Call of Duty Warzone, Roblox, in which both games doesn't use anime art style at all. This thread is flawed from the beginning since OP himself doesn't even research properly about games that were actually played by kids. Wow. Flawed. Those games were aimed and marketed for teens and young adults, while games and ads that were aimed for kids are stuff like Fortnite, Minecraft, Roblox, in which these games mostly doesn't have gacha. Roblox are vague. Roblox do have some gacha actually. Imagine your kid's friend playing Fortnite and you gave your kid a PSP. Hoyo doesn't sexualize. My kids aren't even interested in gacha games at all. Not yet, I think. Popular annual games like FIFA. Okay. Stop thinking that gacha games only exist exclusively in mobile platforms since this kind of shit already existed more than a decade in consoles and PCs. Wait, what? Clash of Clans. Yeah, a lot of kids play this as well. No, not Clash of Clans. I don't think kids play Clash of Clans, but Clash Royale. I think Clash Royale, definitely there's more kids that play that. The one was quite famous last time as well. Compared to a lot of other ones. Every games that have an in-game shop or gacha in it, I think it needs to be rated 18+. Every single one. That's just my opinion. I get that kids can bypass that, but it can reduce the amount of kids that plays it. 15+ should be good enough. My son is a junior in high school. If he gets interested, it will be as an adult. TikTok, Candy Crush. I think Candy Crush is also a different audience. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what's the Candy Crush audience, right? Kids are also exposed to sexual predators online. Ooh, sexual predators. And I would say this is much more of a bigger issue. I think preventing kids from... Which one do you guys think is more of a bigger issue, right? Preventing kids from playing gacha games or preventing kids from using social media? I do think that social media is more contagious than gacha games. I think gacha games is much more easier to stop. It's easier to stop your kids from spending in playing Genshin than to stop your kids from consuming TikTok every day. I think when your kid go to like, maybe most kids don't use Facebook, right? But TikTok and stuff is probably more contagious, I think. I think they are more likely to buy stuff from Logan Paul than to buy stuff in Genshin. Because it's like, if your kid watched Logan Paul, and they are more likely to get scammed in NFT, Crypto Zoo, son, $30 gone. TikTok is more dangerous. I mean, at the end of the day, these are things that is always going to be out there for sure. Gacha ads on social media too. Internet is dangerous. Kids doing cringe dance on TikTok, that's also one thing as well. Social media can be worse. I do think it can be worse. I do think that it's more... there's definitely more harm in social media for a kid. Kids get scammed by Discord free Nitro. The recent Instagram policy of breastfeeding not being censored, making OnlyFans porn actresses to show their boobs holding dolls, to porn websites in general, to investment games or betting fantasy games, they are worse than gacha. It's up to the parents to control what they can and can't access. If you leave a phone with your kid just so they shut up, not only you are being a bad absent parent, but you're also giving to the internet the job of raising a kid. And it can't do that, to be honest. True. The internet cannot raise your kid. I didn't know about this OnlyFans thing, doing breastfeeding or whatever. Sounds crazy actually. Sounds kind of wild. It was adults that was being scammed in Crypto Zoo. Even adults get scammed. Anything that's connected to the internet is a potential threat to addiction. Buy them consoles instead and buy them games if they want a game. This is not practical for a lot of parents though. Like, if you are a parent, would you buy a phone for your child or would you buy a console for your kid? Like, you have to buy both. It's just not practical. You cannot say I don't want to buy a smartphone for my children. Like, I don't think that's possible anymore. You gotta give your child a phone, right? Like, unless you have the money to buy both, and they need to be able to call you and stuff. iPad kids. Lazy parent is more dangerous for kids. Huh. Buy a PS2. Games are now $100. Imagine the whole generation of kids being raised by the internet. Yeah, that would be weird, right? Buy console and buy them basic phone. Is there still basic phone? Personal phone and a family PC. Minesweeper got addicted to gambling. If they have mobile devices, disable in-app purchase and app installation permissions. If they convince you to let them play gacha games because you spoil your kids, make sure the games they are playing have PT on all banners. Make sure it has PT. Like GAN? Tell them that it's like buying the things they want by using in-game currency they got from grinding, but there's a very low chance that they get them cheaper. I'm not sure if kids can understand the concept altogether, but yeah. Basic phone on 2024. You are going to make them play Elden Ring. Elden Ring. I mean, sounds cool, but not sure how possible that is, right? At the end of the day, you know. Kids should not have easy access to gambling. Gacha games fall under the spectrum of gambling, more so towards the green. But they are not exactly gambling. Gambling allows you to chase losses, while the only thing you are chasing in gacha is anime JPEGs. That doesn't mean there isn't a danger. Gacha games are a risky type of game to get into, but compared to gambling, gacha at least on the spectrum is towards the green. The objects of gambling change, but the feeling elicits is the same. There's nothing inherently wrong with playing with chance. It becomes a problem when the person becomes reliant on doing it for a sense of well-being, which becomes like a trap, because other people that have direct control over it are in a position to take advantage of them. Gambling allows you to win something concrete and real. Giving away hard-earned cash for a character in a game on a server-based account that technically don't own, can EOS any day, is arguably worse. Kids need to play Nikkei? Sure. Even if you decide to sell the account to make the money back, assuming the game isn't end of service, it's pennies to the dollar. An account with $10,000 poured in will only get at best half of the money poured into it. Yeah, you don't really make back the money in gacha games. So if you spend money in gacha games, you are just spending money in gacha games. Predatory company plus lazy parents plus dumb kids equals to little. True? True. And credit card. Don't forget to mention credit card. I do think that a lot of this, like based on all the articles that I read, that kids spend their parents' money, is usually because of credit cards. In most cases. Like most articles that I read. And credit card is predatory in their own way as well. Let's not forget that, right? Kids need to play Epic 7 to learn what resource management is. I don't know why you're hating on Hoyo when the fact that kids already play gacha games many years ago with the annual FIFA, NBA, Call of Duty games on PC and consoles. And those games are far more mainstream compared to anything on mobile. Popular games without gacha monetization is far more dangerous for kids like Roblox and Fortnite, because those games can actually be marketed on younger audiences and they will spend like crazy for overpriced cosmetics or premium currencies. I'm not hating, I'm just stating the facts here. Hoyo games are much more mainstream. That's true. Kids have been playing Ragnarok, Grand Chase, Maple Story. This sub is full of Hoyo haters. Hoyo haters, eh? Parents shouldn't allow kids to play games that aren't vetted by themselves, be it gacha or not. Tons of games like Roblox and so on are rather questionable to me. Yeah, it is very difficult. Either you let parents do the job, or you let government do the job. And if government do the job, I think most people won't like it, because it's gonna be like China. And a lot of people look at China's system and they're like, oh, I'm glad I'm not there. But some people, I'm sure some people in China do like the system. Some people in China, some parents in China is like, okay, I can let the government control what my child consume. I can let the government control how many hours my child can play games. I'm sure some parents like it. But you know what? That's not something that I personally would prefer, to be honest.